everyone here this evening, and I'll now declare the meeting open. Ask if there's any conflicts of interest amongst the council members. Thank you very much. Looking for the adoption of the published agenda for Tuesday, April 22nd, regular council meeting.
Good.
Councillor Baker and Councillor Bondi, any questions? No. All in favor?
Through your worship,
Yep.
I have the addition of the correspondence from Frank Cleese, MPP, advising that May 1st is First Responders Day in Ontario. I also have the 10th annual extravaganza for physician recruitment and retention, and report number Infrastructure and Development 2014-06.
Hey, looking for a motion to receive that information. Councillor Scott, Councillor Vokes, any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Looking for the adoption of the minutes of Monday, April the 7th, regular council meeting. Councillor Vokes, Deputy Mayor Malash, any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Monday, April 14th, special council meeting. Councillor Vokes, supported by Councillor Scott. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Public presentations. Number one, Magalla's. Yes, Councillor Vokes.
Thank you. I sent in to be added on to the agenda to talk to fines for physically disabled, and I received a memo that it would be handed over to the Finance Committee, and that's fine as it relates for the request to pay for, but the intent I put in the email was to discuss with council about what we're doing about the physically disabled and the fines they get. That's what my preference to speak to was. So I want to add that into council discussions tonight, if I could, please. Because if I could, the memo I sent says, please add me to council discussions at the 22nd meeting to discuss fines given to physically disabled during the winter season for not clearing their sidewalks.
Okay, Councillor Vokes, we did discuss this on Thursday, which you're aware of, because you did get an email.
Yeah,
I don't
if
know
I
if
could,
it was,
I was
hey,
up-
excuse me while I'm
Sure.
speaking. I'll let you. Okay?
Yeah, no
I don't know who sent you the email, whether it was the clerk or Donna Hunter, but they explained to you why this wouldn't be discussed at tonight's council meeting, because first of all, it has to go to the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee will deal with it and then bring it back to the council members. You'll have some information, not only with this one person, but all of the ones that we got, and I got another one myself in the office today about a charge. Our staff does their job like they're supposed to. If there's somebody that's hard done by out there, bring it to the town, which we do have. I'll say half a dozen, there could be more. We will deal with them at the Finance Committee and then bring the recommendation to council to have it dealt with. So until that happens, Randy, we're going to follow procedure. Go ahead.
If I could, it's not what I'm even asking for. What I'm asking for, I said in the beginning of my question that I know it's got to go to the Finance Committee. Watch that tape. That's what I said. What I'm asking to talk about, council, is the protocol for implementing the fines and what we can do as a council to put a process in place where people who are mentally challenged and physically disabled don't get fined, or a process that gives them some reprieve from the immediate fine. That's what I'm asking for. I'm fully aware that the Finance Committee will decide who pays the fine. That's all I want.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, our first presentation I should say, is Miguel Savard to deal with the Asian Farm 1668, 3276 North Malden Road, Essex. Are they in attendance? Okay, we'll go to the second delegation. Jennifer Grant, Canadian Union of Postal Workers, Local 500. Welcome, young lady, and I'll just advise you that you have 5 minutes, okay?
Thank you for allowing me to speak before you today. My name is Jennifer Grant, Vice President of the Canadian Union of Postal Workers, Local 500 Essex. As you know, I am here today requesting 2 resolutions be passed by you, this council. I recognize that the post office is a federal responsibility. At the same time, municipalities also have a responsibility to postal-related matters that impact our neighborhoods and our communities. The first issue I'd like to speak about is the recent announcement from Canada Post that as of Mother's Day weekend, the corporation will be downsizing our Essex post office. At this time, we have a large foyer with 2 retail point-of-sale cash registers to serve the public. As of Monday, May 12th, the new office will look much different. The lobby will be cut into 1/3 of what we have there today, and the products that we sell will no longer be available for display, and the sale of those products will be ceased as soon as the corporation finds a full-service, privately run franchise in this area. The hours of operation will be shortened by an hour, and we have less time for working families to come into the office to retrieve parcels or purchase products. The union has proposed extended hours to be open, a half day on Sundays, so we could serve the public better. We've also proposed increasing banking services, which could increase revenue and generate more profits that would be paid back to you, the owners of Canada Post. Despite research proving that almost 2/3 of Canadians want financial services added to the postal service, Canada Post continues to ignore the public's calls. Independent research from the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives confirms that revenue generated from other postal banks is significant. Kiwi Bank generated 70% of New Zealand's Post profits in 2012. Post Finance generated 71% of Swiss Post's operating profits, and the banking and insurance arms of the Italian Post Office brought in 67% of their total profits. In addition to generating profits, postal banking often provides social and economic benefits. They help finance public investments such as roads, schools, and water projects. CUPW is determined to push for a more innovative approach to a public postal service, one that focuses on preserving important services and generating more revenue by expanding parcel service and adding lucrative financial and banking services. In this country today, we have thousands of communities with post offices, but no banks. We have hundreds of thousands of citizens without bank accounts. We want to help these communities and these people. Canada Post has been profitable for 17 of the last 18 years. The only year it did not make a profit was the year the employees were illegally locked out, 2011, and legislated back to work by this current Conservative government. In 1996, Canada Post has paid over $1.5 billion back to this government in forms of dividends and income taxes. We want this profit to continue to go to you, the owners of Canada Post, not some private business owner. Now I'd like to talk to you about the announcement by Canada Post that over the next 5 years they plan to eliminate door-to-door delivery and how this will negatively affect our community in Essex. No country in the world has eliminated door-to-door delivery, and we don't intend to be the first. This is not a proud heritage moment. Between 1986 and 1994, the Conservative government tried to close or sell almost every public post office in this country. But communities and postal unions fought back and won a moratorium on post office closures in rural and small post office towns. We intend to fight the plans to end door-to-door delivery as well. We will work with the millions of citizens who want door-to-door delivery. We will work with seniors groups, people with disabilities, and the organizations that work with them. We will work with small businesses and home-based businesses that will be affected in this community. We will work with the municipal governments, allies in the labor movement, and anyone who cares about their postal service. We will ensure this issue does not go away. We will pressure Jeff Watson to come out against these cutbacks. Essex residents will not take the loss of door-to-door delivery and the introduction of community mailboxes lying down. They certainly aren't going to be thrilled when Canada Post tries to plunk a huge chunk of metal on their property. Just ask anyone with CMB delivery what they think. They will tell you they are disadvantaged in terms of safety, accessibility, litter, snow buildup, and the environment. Seniors and people living with disabilities will be especially hit hard if Canada Post takes away door-to-door delivery. They rely on this service to stay connected and independent. Close to 2 out of the 3 people, 63% of our country currently get home delivery. While 33% of households receive door-to-door delivery, another 25% get mail delivered to the entrance of their apartment building. Another 5% get mail delivered to their home by way of rural mailboxes. Only 25% of households actually receive delivery to a community mailbox, a group mailbox, or kiosk. Another 12% get their mail through a postal box or general delivery to a post office. With the government's plan, the number of people who have to walk or drive to get their mail will increase by 132%. The elimination of door-to-door delivery will affect seniors and people living with disabilities the most. Security of mail is a concern as people check their CMB less frequently.
You wrap it up, Jennifer?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, of course.
Close it.
Okay. All right. Okay. We have heard a lot about the current financial situation of Canada Post and the decline of letters, yet we hear little of the fact that Canada Post made more than 90 million in profit last year and hundreds of millions in profits in 2009 and 2010. This past Christmas, we had record parcel volumes. We know there is a decline in letters, and we accept the fact the post office is changing. We need real innovations, not excuses and cutbacks. We have fought a Conservative government before and won, and today we face a new Conservative government and a new challenge, and once again, our union and the community will fight to preserve a public postal service for all Canadians. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any questions from council to the delegation? Concerns Councillor Vokes?
Thank you, Councillor Scott. I got questions, but before we move on with questions, I'm going to ask Council to give her a couple more minutes to let her finish what she wants to talk about. I think it's important that we discuss this and just recognizing the 5-minute opportunity. I just want a little bit of an extension on that, if Council will support that, please. 5 minutes.
Any questions to the motion? All in favor? Go ahead, Heather. Or Jennifer, I should say.
Okay, sorry. I'm trying to remember where I left off. I don't want to repeat myself and waste your time. Okay. Because it does affect seniors.
Do you have a resolution?
Yes.
We would certainly like to entertain and hear the resolution. That's important.
I think there's a copy of the resolution that I put.
Excuse me,
No?
excuse me. Councillor Vokes, please come through the chair and use your mic, okay? So you asked the lady to speak. We gave her another 5 minutes. Can she continue? And then we'll give you a chance, okay? Thank you. Jennifer. go
Okay.
ahead.
The elimination of door-to-door delivery will affect seniors and people living with disabilities the most. Security is an issue with the mail CMBs as people check it less frequently. It's been proven that it's actually rampant to where people have actually stolen the CMBs right off of the platforms that they sit on. So Canada Post and the Union looked at a conversion from CMB to door-to-door delivery in a 2005 study in Burlington, Ontario, and 83% of the respondents who'd experienced both door-to-door delivery and CMBs said they preferred door-to-door delivery. The decision to eliminate the door-to-door delivery was rushed through prior to a government review of the postal charter already scheduled for 2014. It was rushed in just before the holidays and the day after Parliament had closed for their holiday holiday break, therefore not allowing us, the public, to contact our MPs. It was rushed through before the financial results from 2013 were released. We were fed misinformation and excuses to justify these drastic cuts. We were told that 2/3 of the population already had their mail delivered to CMB, and as I've already mentioned, this is just not true. We also heard, I won't mention about the pension plan, that's fine. We were also heard that the cuts were necessary based on a Conference Board of Canada report, an organization whose board of directors includes the CEO of Canada Post. This report, which was paid for by Canada Post, projected that we would lose $1 billion annually by 2020. The Conference Board based the 2020 estimate on the assumption that Canada Post would lose $250 million in 2012. Were they correct? No. Canada Post actually made $94 million in 2012. So what makes anyone confident they are right about 2020? We have heard a lot about the current financial situations of Canada Post and the decline of letters, yet we've heard very little of the fact that Canada Post made $94 million in 2012. So that was basically the little bit of information that I wasn't able to put forth. And I did put forth a resolution for both the elimination of door-to-door to be passed by this council, as well as to oppose the downsizing of our Essex post office. Thank you for your time.
Okay, questions now? Councillor Vokes.
Question, but not so much a question, but obviously a comment. I think it boils down to obviously the federal government of the day taking another opportunity to pull the carpet out from that of the physically disabled, mentally challenged, and the elderly. There's no doubt about that. It's a federal cutback that they're coming after, and their choice and their venue was obviously our postal service. It was the easy target, and they're taking opportunity of that. But let's not dismiss what the leaders of our federal government are making today themselves. No one is talking about that. They're making in combinations multitudes of millions as it relates to federal tax dollars. But they want to go after the Canada Post, who has proven to generate strong profits at the end of the year for whatever reason they choose to go that route. Whether it's an internal conflictual thing between the union and the federal government is beyond me, but why they're attacking people in the private sector is yet to be obviously discovered. And outside of the fact of the disabled, I know for a fact, and knowing of it, my daughter, who is on a box, if you will, a community mailbox, vandalism every day. Tipped over, things jammed into the keys. You come home from work, you can't get in, you can't get your mail, you got to make the calls. They come out and fix it. So it has a host of problems that have yet to be seen yet. And when it happens and the page turns, it happens. There's no going back. So I encourage council to support the resolution tonight as put forward. Thanks.
Sir, anyone else? Councillor Baker?
Thank you, through you, Your Worship. Just some general questions, I guess, or some statements initially. A lot of information has been flowing here. I know this is a passionate thing. Anytime things that we have become entitled to and that are going away, it becomes a passionate issue. There's no question. This whole system has been historically and is designed as a user pay system. That means that those who use the system pay for it through their delivery of parcels and whatnot. We all know that's diminishing at a significant rate, greater than the dollars. I'm not sure you're getting the dollars from the reports I'm reading do not support the financial loss you're talking about in the postal system. So I don't know where that is. You know, and we here, in my opinion, are Council of Municipality. We need to deal with our municipality issues. This is a federal issue. I won't support this resolution because I believe it's a federal issue. And also, when I'm looking at it from a municipal point of view, when the numbers that you're throwing up, 5%, whatnot, if we look at the town of Essex, in its centers, we have more than 2/3 that are not getting home delivery, more than 2/3 who are getting community mailboxes, more than 2/3 who are accustomed to the service that's already there, and that isn't home delivery. The system is not supporting itself financially. That is a fact. The whole point also is that what's being proposed over the next 5 years as a proposal from Canada Post is through attrition. Nobody's losing their jobs. And by the way, you didn't bring up pensions, but you're going to be fully indexed through your pensions. So if the system can't support itself, I don't see how we support a resolution that's a federal issue, not municipal. And our municipality already gets more than two-thirds non-home delivery. The town of Harrow does not get home delivery. They have to go to either a community mailbox, they have to go to a post office, so it's already in the system. Can I ask the one question? Did you send a letter to our MP, Jeff Watson? Did you send a letter to him about this issue?
I've spoken with Jeff Watson on several occasions, personally.
Do you realize that sending a letter to your member of parliament is free without a stamp?
I understand that.
I'm making a point here, anecdotally, is that we as a public are reducing the amount of mail that we're using. If we want to support the system, keep jobs, send a letter, send stuff, use the system. We're not using the system. That's important to do. Now, when you talk about other sources of revenue, New Zealand Bank, you mentioned that, you talked about the Kiwi Bank. Kiwi Bank has taken those dividends and paid it to the government, has not supported. Now Kiwi Bank is selling off their bank because they're losing money. And by the way, they are actually laying off somewhere like 20,000 people in their system because it's not working. And by the way, banking system is also going electronic in smartphones as well. So it's really not a competitive way to move. So on top of that, these are all the points I'm learning when I'm doing the research. From a municipal point of view, this is not our issue. From home delivery, this municipality already gets more than two-thirds not home delivery through the system. So I don't know what we're supporting here, but as a municipal councillor, I can't support it federally. That's federal business. How would we like the federal government to send us a letter or a resolution telling us what we should be doing with Memorial Arena? What should we be doing with our parks? That's not their business. Neither is this. So for that particular reason, and all the information that's been thrown my way, which has other points to it, I can't support this resolution. This is a federal government issue. The system can't support itself unless we start using the system. Unless you want taxpayers to support the system that isn't making money. So I'm not sure where the financials are coming from, but the reports I'm reading, that it is not there, and the information I've received. So I can pass it on to you as well. So for that reason, I can't support it.
Okay, thank you for your comments. I'd like to respond to a few of those issues. I did actually put that in with your package. It is a postcard that you can send postage-free regarding the downsizing of the post office. As far as the Harrow post office, the majority of the people that live in Harrow get their delivery by rural mailboxes. And there's a very few, the inside town core does go to they're a CPA, they're a small rural office, they're not a large urban center. Now, as far as the Essex post office, I'm not sure exactly, I could get the numbers for you exactly how many are actually delivered. We have 6 full-time letter carriers, 2 part-time letter carriers, and 5 rural carriers that deliver the mail to the town of Essex. So it isn't totally CMB'd as if you'd like this council to believe. There were so many different points, I don't know if I actually can get to talk to all of them. Trying to remember what the different ones were, but you talked about the 5 or 6 different points that I wanted to touch base on, and I didn't get a chance because you didn't stop for a breath. If there's any other information, I can certainly get you the profit statements. I have it in an email. I can print it off and send it to you if that would help you change your decision.
Through your worship. Yeah, thank you. So by all means, I'd like to analyze your data with the data that I'm receiving to see where, in fact, there's a difference, and maybe it's the way it's being presented, so for sure. But can you confirm the fact that this whole proposal that's forward now in terms of reducing home delivery, that no jobs will be lost, that is through attrition?
The 6,000 to 8,000 jobs that will be lost, which I did not touch on, are temporary workers that we have that fill in for full-time workers. We are expecting, Canada Post does expect, now are you talking about the door-to-door delivery loss or the loss of the employees at the downsizing of the Essex Post Office? Are you specifically talking about the letter carriers, 6,000 to 8,000?
Yeah, I'm talking in general, the higher number in terms of the whole system itself. When you talk to 6 to 8,000, are those all part-time?
Those are temporary workers that can fill in as part-time or full-time workers, as the case may need be.
My understanding is those, from the information I have, and again, if it's not accurate, let me know, that all the jobs will be eliminated if this should go through attrition, and nobody is going to lose their job. That'll be through retirement. So that's and I don't know what category that is, whether it's inside staff, whether it's letter carriers, but whatever will happen will be through attrition and full pensions.
Well, I can speak specifically about Essex, since you are concerned specifically about Essex. If they CMB the town of Essex, which they have been doing, the Canada Post has been only hitting towns. They do it by postal code. They've been doing it by postal code across Canada, and the postal codes that they have given have all been towns that have been Conservative MPs, so it's quite possible that Essex could be a town that's hit. If they CMB'd the town of Essex, we would lose, I would say, probably 4 out of the 6 full-time carriers that we have.
And again, that'll be through attrition.
At this time in our collective agreement, they will not be fired or released, but I can't speak as to what would happen after our next collective agreement in 2015. If they do this after 2015, they could very well be fired. I don't know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Bill. Anything further? Councillor Bondi.
Thank you, Jennifer, for coming to our council and speaking right from the horse's mouth. Your position is you are the vice president? Okay, and I'm not sure, Councillor Baker, where you're getting your information, but I would love to be privy to your information as well.
She's speaking.
And,
She's speaking.
and of course, the model that Canada Post and the Conservatives have set up, of course, it's not a sustainable model. If you look at it and you read the literature that was set out in our agenda package today, the price for stamps is set up to target low-income individuals because the cost to increase a stamp for the average citizen goes up. So of course it's not a sustainable model. I also just sent council an email picture of a community mailbox, and this one is actually on Jackson Street in Colchester, and I'm sure you're very familiar with it, Councillor Scott. This community mailbox looks horrible, and if we think that that is acceptable for our communities, then I really think we really need to go back to the drawing board. My biggest concern with this whole forward-thinking model with Canada Post is the lack of public consultation. Jennifer, can you confirm if there's been any public consultation in our town?
No, there wasn't. They had public consultation with 46 selected communities across Canada, hand-chosen by Canada Post, and then they did an online survey that was very limited in what you could actually say, or it was basically true-false types of question and answers, and that was all that that's all that they did prior to this cut. And you're absolutely right, Councillor Bondi, thank you for mentioning the CMBs. And in the winter time, this winter was a terrible winter. Can you imagine someone with disabilities trying to access and walk down to a community mailbox where they have to walk over 3-foot snowdrifts to try to access their mail? They're not cleared on a regular basis. They're icy, they're dangerous. They're dangerous for a well-bodied person, let alone someone who's a senior, to have to walk down to get a community mailbox and pick up their mail.
Okay, thank you. Anytime that there is a safety issue, an accessibility issue, a litter issue, an environmental issue, to me, that's a municipal issue. Federal, provincial, we are the first line of defense for our residents. And we need to speak up when something affects our municipality. And from doing the research on this issue, to me, it's screaming loud and clear that it affects our residents, our municipality. Maybe because I wear my accessibility hat, that I see it a little bit more clearly. I'm not sure. Maybe because I'm concerned for the safety of our seniors, that I see it a little more clearly. Maybe because I'm a tree hugger and I like environmental issues, I see it a little more clearly. Maybe passing this motion tonight isn't the direction that our council should go, but I think our council should stand up and go in some direction and not just sit here and not do anything. I thank you for coming. I've been watching this issue and researching this issue, and I've gone to workshops on this issue in the City of Windsor, and there hasn't been any public consultation in the City of Windsor. So I think, we're a pretty big region. Yes, we have a mix of urban and rural, but I think that cuts to Canada Post, it's just one more cut to public service. To me, a job lost through attrition is still a job lost. And I don't know who could disagree with that here. So I thank you, and I look to see what the balance of council is going to say, and after that, I have a motion on the table.
Thank you. Councillor Scott?
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. I don't want to make it political or party lines or complex like that. Let's keep it simple. That box actually looks good compared to the box that I use. Our bar box at the end of our street it's not at the end of our street. It's not convenient. It's a disaster. My main concern is, and Councillor Bondi touched on this, I don't want to see any reduction in services, period, to our residents. And one of the ways this will affect us in our ward is that we have mailbox delivery service that could eventually cease and go to this. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And I know, I'm a big champion of active living, but I don't think we need to get seniors exercising me walking to mailboxes in the wintertime either. So I'll support this, only because just simply I don't want to see it reduced. I also say in Harrow, you know, the post office there, probably similar to Essex, is very much a community place where people gather. And it's right in our downtown, and our downtown is certainly going through some challenges in Harrow, and there's a comeback. There's little stores opening. People use this as a place to meet. I'd like to continue to see that. I'm curious if the mayor is going to comment on this too, being an ex-mailman too. I'm curious to hear his thoughts too, not putting you on the spot, Your Worship, but I'm curious to hear what you think about this too. I mean that sincerely, to weigh on this, but I'll support the resolutions.
Anyone else? Deputy Mayor Malash.
Thank you, through you, Your Worship. I have mixed feelings on it. I understand where Councillor Baker's coming from, but I also see the benefits of trying to support this for the concerns of our residents in the town. I'm a rural person myself, and I appreciate having my mail delivered right to the end of my driveway. I know other communities where they have primarily letter boxes that they have to go to, and many of them have gotten used to the fact that they have to do that. But a lot of them don't get their mail on a regular basis because they just don't make the effort to go and to get it. It piles up for 2 weeks sometimes at a time. I don't think it's to the advantage, in all honesty, of the post office to remove home delivery, because I think less people, or I should say more people, will use the post office less because of it. I think if I were to stop having my mail delivered to my home, there's probably a lot of mail that I'd say I'd prefer not to get. I would ask for certain companies not to mail me certain billings, etc. I would probably do a lot more electronic mailing. With that said, I would probably like to add to this whole motion that the Canadian Post Office services look for other ways of trying to increase their revenues. And I have seen statements as well that have led me to believe that the post office is in serious trouble as far as their profits, that they're actually in huge deficits. And I've not read anything to the contrary, but I don't want to get into an argument over it, but anything that I've read always indicates that they've been running deficits. So maybe I should do a little more digging on that to try and see whether that's actually happening, or if that's something that was just maybe propaganda put in the paper. So